Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 8, Book 74, number 281. Narrated by Ibn Mas'ud. Allah's Apostle taught me the tashahhud as he taught me a surah from the Quran, while my hand was between his hands. Tashahhud was, all the best compliments and the prayers and the good things are for Allah. Peace and Allah's mercy and blessings be on you, O Prophet. Peace be on us and on the pious slaves of Allah. I testify that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and I also testify that Muhammad is Allah's slave and his apostle. We used to recite this in the prayer, during the lifetime of the Prophet, but when he had died, we used to say, Peace be on the Prophet. Volume 8, Book 74, number 282. Narrated by Abdullah bin Abbas. Ali bin Abu Talib came out of the house of the Prophet during his fatal ailment. The people asked, Ali, O Abu Hassan, how is the health of Allah's Apostle this morning? Ali said, This morning he is better, with the grace of Allah. Al-Abbas held Ali by the hand and said, Don't you see him, about to die? By Allah, within 3 days you will be the slave of the stick, i.e., under the command of another ruler. By Allah, I think that Allah's Apostle will die from his present ailment, for I know the signs of death on the faces of the offspring of Abdul Muttalib. So let us go to Allah's Apostle to ask him who will take over the caliphate. If the authority is given to us, we will know it, and if it is given to somebody else we will request him to recommend us to him. Ali said, By Allah, if we ask Allah's Apostle for the rulership and he refuses, then the people will never give it to us. Besides, I will never ask Allah's Apostle for it. See Hadith number 728, Volume 5. Volume 8, Book 74, number 283. Narrated by Mu'a. While I was a companion rider with the Prophet he said, O Mu'a. I replied, Labaik wa Sadiq. He repeated this call 3 times and then said, Do you know what Allah's right on his slaves is? I replied, No. He said, Allah's right on his slaves is that they should worship him, alone, and should not join partners in worship with him. He said, O Mu'a. I replied, Labaik wa Sadiq. He said, Do you know what the right of Allah's salves on Allah is? If they do that, worship him alone and join none in his worship. It is that he will not punish them. Volume 8, Book 74, number 284. Narrated by Mu'a. As above, number 283. Volume 8, Book 74, number 285. Narrated by Abu Dar. While I was walking with the Prophet at the Hara of Medina in the evening, the mountain of Uhud appeared before us. The Prophet said, O Abu Dar, I would not like to have gold equal to Uhud mountain for me, unless nothing of it, not even a single dinar remains of it with me, for more than 1 day or 3 days, except that single dinar which I will keep for repaying debts. I will spend all of it, the whole amount, among Allah's slaves like this and like this and like this. The Prophet pointed out with his hand to illustrate it and then said, O Abu Dar. I replied, Labaik wa Sadiq, O Allah's Apostle. He said, Those who have much wealth, in this world, will be the least rewarded, in the hereafter, except those who do like this and like this, i.e., spend their money in charity. Then he ordered me, Remain at your place and do not leave it, O Abu Dar, till I come back. He went away till he disappeared from me. Then I heard a voice and feared that something might have happened to Allah's apostle, and I intended to go, to find out. But I remembered the statement of Allah's apostle that I should not leave my place. So I kept on waiting, and after a while the Prophet came, and I said to him, O Allah's apostle, I heard a voice and I was afraid that something might have happened to you. But then I remembered your statement and stayed there. The Prophet said, that was Gabriel who came to me and informed me that whoever among my followers died without joining others in worship with Allah, would enter paradise. I said, O Allah's apostle, even if he had committed illegal sexual intercourse and theft. He said, even if he had committed illegal sexual intercourse and theft. Volume 8, Book 74, Number 286. Narrated by Ibn Umar. The Prophet said, a man should not make another man get up from his, the latter's, seat, in a gathering, in order to sit there. Volume 8, Book 74, Number 287. Narrated by Ibn Umar. The Prophet forbade that a man should be made to get up from his seat so that another might sit on it, but one should make room and spread out. Ibn Umar disliked that a man should get up from his seat and then somebody else sit at his place. Volume 8, Book 74, Number 288. Narrated by Anas bin Malik. When Allah's apostle married Zainab bint Jahsh, he invited the people who took their meals and then remained sitting and talking. The Prophet pretended to be ready to get up, but the people did not get up. When he noticed that, he got up, and when he had got up, some of those people got up along with him and there remained 3, who kept on sitting. Then the Prophet came back and found those people still sitting. Later on those people got up and went away. So I went to the Prophet and informed him that they had left. The Prophet came, and entered his house. I wanted to enter, along with him, but he dropped a curtain between me and him. Allah then revealed, O you who believe, do not enter the Prophet's houses until leave is given, to his statement. Verily, that shall be an enormity, in Allah's sight. 33.53. Volume 8, Book 74, Number 289. Narrated by Ibn Umar. I saw Allah's apostle in the courtyard of the Kaaba in the Atiba posture, putting his hand round his legs like this. Volume 8, Book 74, Number 290. Narrated by Abu Bakr. Allah's apostle said, shall I inform you of the biggest of the great sins? They said, yes, O Allah's apostle. He said, to join partners in worship with Allah, and to be undutiful to one's parents. Volume 8, Book 74, Number 291. Narrated by Bish. As above, Number 290, adding, the Prophet was reclining, leaning, and then he sat up saying, and I warn you against giving a false statement. And he kept on saying that warning so much so that we said, would that he had stopped. Volume 8, Book 74, Number 292. Narrated by Uqba bin al-Harith. Once the Prophet offered the Asr prayer and then he walked quickly and entered his house. Volume 8, Book 74, Number 293. Narrated by Aisha. Allah's apostle used to offer his prayer while standing in the midst of the bed, and I used to lie in front of him between him and the Qibla if I had any necessity for getting up, and I used to dislike to get up and face him while he was in prayer, but I would gradually slip away from the bed.